So looking at that quarter-final draw, and the winner of our match here will take on either Supanida Katong or Win Toi Lin. In this half of the draw, that is, I should say. Just saw Yo Jamin beat Tomoka Miyazaki. And there she is, An Se-young, woman of the moment, who's garnered a lot of attention over the last few months. Very outspoken comments, I think, for a rewarding return to the sport she so dearly loves, and which clearly loves her too. So, looking at this, it is very much in favour of An Se-young. She's won 6 of their 7 meetings. We look at those meetings in a bit more detail. And it is, the last one was the India Open, start of the year. She won in 3, An Se-young. Ratchanok's only win was the very first time they met in 2019. So 5 straight wins for An Se-young since then, who is 22, 170 centimetres tall, from the southern part of the country, Gwangju. Second in the world. Of course, a former #1 that just a couple months ago beat Pornpichat 21-16, 21-8 on her return to international competition since the Olympics, where she won gold, beat He Bingjiao in the final. She's a world champion as well. Asian Games champion currently. Asian Championships, second last year, bronze in 2022. Ratchanok Intanon is 29, 169 centimetres tall, 19th in the world. She is a former world #1, achieved in April of 2016. She is a former world champion, as I mentioned, in 2013. Won the bronze in 2019. Asian champion in 2015. Beat Yvonne Lee, by the way, comfortably in just over half an hour. And in terms of her titles, 6 on the HSBC BWF World Tour. Won the Spain Masters this year. Last week, of course, finishing runner-up to Han Yue in the final of the Arctic Open. Christian Lundborg of Denmark is our umpire. Lakbre Edrisinghe of Sri Lanka is the service judge. Now, An Se-young, in terms of titles won, it is just unparalleled. 22 women's singles titles. This year alone, she's won the Malaysia, French and Singapore Opens and was runner-up at the Indonesia Open. Really good to have her back, isn't it, Chris, on the circuit?
Definitely, you know, she's the best. She is. And, you know, winning the Olympics and everything, and obviously some of the things that have come out afterwards, it's just lovely to have her back on tour, because she's a pleasure to watch, and she's special. You know, all that she's achieved, and she's still so young.
Yeah.
Now, the question I'm unsure of is, how much pressure does she feel in this tournament? Just because the first one back after Olympics, obviously there have been quite a number of things that have come to light in the recent weeks or months or whatever. So does she feel a little bit of extra pressure? You know, she is the favourite.
Yeah.
How's she going to cope with it today against a well-playing Ratchanok?
On my left, An Se-young, Korea. Ratchanok Intanon to serve. Level. Play.
Ratchanok to get us going here.
1 love.
Oh, she left that, it was good. It's a lovely winner there. She did say she was a full 10 out of 10 happy to be back on court after winning her opening match against Pornpichat. She said she was nervous but happy to be back after winning the Olympics and trying to adjust to the conditions, reading the drift, and getting that on-court feeling back. After you've been out for a while, that's always like that, isn't it?
100%. You know, there's this fine line in badminton between you want to play tournaments to get a rhythm, get a feeling, but then on the flip side, the negative of that can be when players are playing 30, 35 tournaments a year because you need training.
Yeah.
You need to be in the correct condition, and obviously Anssi Young's had quite a lot of trouble with her knee, and you know, how correct is it, or how fixed is it, or you know, what condition is it actually in? This is a question no one knows but her. Still obviously got the big strapping on.
It's about a year ago when that all kicked off at the Asian Games, I think it was.
Yeah, she was in this absolutely incredible run of, you know, she seemed unbeatable.
She was at every final she was in.
Yeah, she literally was on top of the world.
And then there was real danger. She wasn't even going to be at the Olympics, and then was she going to do well? In the end, she did it all. And you know, she did say she just loved stepping back out onto the court. It's a happy place. She had a lot of time off from Paris, but she needed time to recover from her injury, which she says, by the way, is not 100% there yet.
I think it's difficult because the injury she had, you should take time, obviously, to recover properly with the correct rehab, and you don't want to push yourself too much. But then on the flip side, she had the Olympics, you know, the big be-all and end-all, and it's that fine line of doing the right thing, but also playing enough tournaments and getting yourself in the position that you're feeling comfortable with your playing ability.
Service over.
It's amazing at the age of 22 what she's already achieved.
What she's already done.
It's pretty much everything. She's completed badminton at 22 almost. You know, it's crazy.
It's a generational talent, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also her maturity on court, as in the way she plays. She doesn't play like a 22-year-old. She plays like a very, very experienced player. Very calm, composed, moves the shuttle around well. Fantastic defense. Brilliant. Finesse in that shot. Not about the physical side of it. It's about hits it so clean on that overhead, and the placement was so good.
Well, it's a nice start here for Ratchanok with a 4-point lead.
Often I do see when Anssi Young plays a player of a high caliber as Ratchanok is, she can sometimes start just a little bit slow. Almost gets herself into the game. Not many players that can afford to do that. She's maybe one that, it's not that she can afford to do it, but she gets away with it.
This is one of the few that she has actually never won. Anssi Young got to a final in 21. Missed out last year because of that injury.
Brilliant.
That's a sublime shot, isn't it?
Just moves the shuttle around effortlessly. I mean, to find gaps on a court is very difficult to do because you have to analyse where your opponent is, where to put the shuttle, and she does it so easily, so calmly, so composed.
Ratchanok has 1 year before, in 2017.
Brilliant from Ratchanok. You know, Ratchanok's a player, for me, that has inspired a whole generation of players because Thailand and I do believe it has come from her now have 4 lady singles players of a very high level, and she's actually currently the 4th ranked player, lady singles player from Thailand, but I think that's from her.
Yeah.
She's one of the older players of those 4, and they've all come through from seeing her success, and almost she's an inspiration over there of what she's achieved.
Absolutely.
She was one of the players that transformed badminton, and absolutely exceptional from Ratchanok. She transformed badminton in Thailand.
And then, you know, about 10 years after her achievement, Kudlova goes on to win the men's world champion. Yeah.
And, you know, he even
Brilliant.
commented, saying that he was inspired by her. And this is, you know, it's amazing when you hear these things, and all the top players around the world. I'm sure Ansei Young is going to inspire the next generation of lady singles players from Korea, seeing what their idol has achieved, winning an Olympic gold medal.
5.
Started playing in a sweet factory where her mum was working.
Absolutely exceptional.
Oh dear, when she pulls out shots like that,
6,
it
10.
just boggles the mind.
When you hear about stories of, you know, players starting not because their mother or father played, or brother or sister, or, you know, something like that, but a bit more of the stories that are unique. I think they're the ones, though, that should get out to people in regards to just have a go at badminton. You never know what you could become from it. If you enjoy playing it, as Ratchanok obviously did, and she obviously excelled, it created a phenomenal player. But there's so many other players out there that started in different ways that you just want to get more and more people out there playing and enjoying badminton.
Ratchanok Intanon challenges called.
There's a challenge here. It was interesting because the owner of the factory was quite worried about. She's accompanying her parents to the factory where they were, in the sweet factory, and he was worried about the safety of this young child, and he allowed her to play at the badminton courts. That little quirk of history has shaped her life.
100%, and you know, the owner of that factory, I'm sure she's very thankful that,
of course,
he allowed that. And all different players will have a different story to pass on, and these stories are so inspiring for the young kids out there.
Challenge unsuccessful. 1 challenge remaining. 7-10. Play.
3 points now. She's chipping away at that lead. Ansei Young.
Pushed it wide.
Service over. 11-7. Interval.
So 4-point lead then for Ratchanok.
아직 중심이 좀 빠져 있으니까 수비 좀 신경 쓰고 어차피 쟤는 앞에 떨어뜨리는 걸 많이 하니까 뒤에서 그거만 보고
더 원거리 좀 활용하려고 하고 앞서가 조금 머니까 좀 더 다가가서 치려고 해요.
말씀하시면 스마싱밖에 없으면 공만 안 맞추시는데 짧게
앞서가 좀 잘 생각하고 좀 많이 받아서
20 seconds. Court 1. 20 seconds. 11-7. Play. Service over. 8-11.
It does look like still a lot of that strapping on that around that knee area, isn't there, for Ansei Young? I remember seeing her in Kumamoto last year. And she was going through the paces up and down these stairs. She was going to be
11.
She was struggling. It was tough. But she's talked about having to play a lot of tournaments, even when injured. And that's tough. That's not easy. Only 2 points in it.
Service over.
We haven't really talked about sideways,
Well,
anything sideways here, Chris, in terms of drifting. What do you think? Not much?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit. I mean,
Right to left, you think?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like the drift is so extreme that,
No.
you know, it's too difficult for the players. They're all of a high enough caliber. You know, we're talking about two of the very best ladies singles players here, and they're fine with, well, not fine, but they can handle the drift. It's not, I wouldn't say it's affecting them to an extreme degree. The most integral part when there's a drift is you have to adapt your tactics. You have to play a different style. You have to be ready for something that maybe your opponent does differently or you do differently. And that's one of the biggest things. And
Luke Guangzhou being the perfect example.
Exactly. An adaptation of your favoured style, your favoured game is the complicated bit, and some players deal with it better than others. The hardest bit for me personally is when there is a drift. Controlling when you are below the tape, as in the white bit of the net. That's the hardest bit.
Oh,
Service over.
that's one she might feel she should be able to put away.
13-10.
Oh, I thought there was something in there. Well, that's why she is challenging. It's a nice little hold there. Looked a good shot.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining. 14-10. Play.
Just out then. For An Se-young.
As I said, I do find An Se-young sometimes does start a match just a little bit slow, and I'd say we've seen that here. The other thing that I just have in the back of my mind is, obviously, you know, everyone's seen there's been a few discussions that have been had with An Se-young and media interviews and so on, and how comfortable is she right now? As in, how relaxed does she feel out on court? Is the question I'm not sure of. You know, how she said she's obviously really happy to be back playing, and I get that, you know, she's a fantastic badminton player, and
Sure.
badminton players want to be out there playing, doing their thing they enjoy. Just wonder how comfortable is she with some of the other things that are going on, and just see a little bit hesitant here today.
Oh, that's well placed.
Over.
But on the flip side, I don't want to take anything away from Ratchanok, because
11.
she's really kind of, over the last, whatever it is, 6, 8, 9 months, she's definitely up to her level again, and we're seeing a much better version of Ratchanok. Brilliant. You know, last week at the Arctic Open, we saw a rejuvenated version of Ratchanok, which obviously made the final.
Agreed. Yeah.
First round being the #1 seed. Wang Ziyin beating some of her teammates as she went on. Katatong in the quarterfinal in an absolute kind of monster game, 23-21 in the final game.
Nicely done there.
Great composure on that final shot, and it's the placement. It's so easy to snatch in that situation.
17.
When you have time, like An Se-young does on this final shot here, you can overthink it. Places it perfectly.
Couple of points in a row there for An.
13.
She did say she was
17.
glad to return, play in front of the fans, and also great to be back on tour with her teammates, which I thought was an interesting one there. I missed it, but I got to spend time with my family and friends and do the things I like. Like having Korean barbecue.
We've seen a lot of players after the Olympics having some kind of time out, which I totally get, because, you know, badminton players now, you can play anything from 20 to 35 tournaments a year, which is pretty much non-stop. You don't get to see your family, your friends. You don't get to do normal things because it is relentless. But that's the commitment you make as a professional athlete. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
She's played some very good shots here. It's only a 2-point lead now.
Defense is so good. Control there. It doesn't get any better than that. A cross backhand block.
A late assault here from An Se-young. Well, we saw something similar from Jonathan Christie. Just fell short in the first game.
Service over. 18-15. Service over. 16-18.
Great pickup. Yeah, that's just too good. An Se-young did amazing to obviously pick that one up, but it just took her a little bit too long to be able to get up.
16. $19-16. Service over. 17-19.
Well, let's talk about thoughts of things coming into this about footwear and what she'd be allowed to do.
Service over.
Blisters had affected her.
20.
An Se-young, 3 game points here. Ratchanok Intanon. So Ratchanok Intanon takes the first game, in which she's pretty much led from the start.
17.
But now, on probably the more preferred end for most of these players, let's see how An Se-young gets on.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
Chris, she's on the this end now, isn't she? On So Young, where most players have found
Second game.
joy with, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
Bubble.
the other thing about Anse Young, which I did mention, is
Play.
she often does have a slightly slow start. But she is playing a player who's in form, Ratchanok, and a player who's got so much experience.
Right.
Service over.
It's going to be an interesting to see what we see in the second game, especially from Anse Young. Can she increase the tempo, the pace of the game?
So at the start of this year, that was the last match that they played at the India Open. Ratchanok won the first game 21-16, and then Anse Young won the next two. 21-13, 21-16. And then
Service over.
another time they played three was at the Malaysia Masters 22. Ratchanok again won the first one, and then Anse Young reeled off the next two, 13 and 12. So those are the only two times they've gone to 3 games. And both times Ratchanok had won the first game.
Yeah, I'd say obviously the head-to-heads, Anse Young being 6-1 up, and the only time that Ratchanok actually won was the
Right at the
first time.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, the very first time back in 2019, when obviously Anse Young was pretty young. And I would say the way that Anse Young plays, she's definitely better suited to that side. Being able to play the big court, she's very good at moving the shuttle around and exposing her opponent by making them move, twist, turn, stretch. Not the most attacking of players.
No.
Service over. 2, 3. Service over.
Played to absolute perfection.
4,
Like that.
Yeah.
2.
Missed it.
Service over.
I think everything that she is going to be doing in matches going forward, everything, whether it's on the court, on the side of the court, it's just going to be under a microscope now, isn't it? And that is not easy.
No, definitely not. You know, a player who is current Olympic gold medalist,
Right.
was world #1 for so long, has almost changed the game slightly as a player of her age, you know, showing she can pretty much complete badminton at 22 years old. And now some of the media articles that have come to light and
4.
the pressure she's under, you know, she's supposed to win every single game she plays. It's really tough. It's like Victor when he was world #1. I think people don't always appreciate being world #1's an amazing thing, but you're expected to win every single
That's the
match.
default setting.
Yeah.
Service over.
It's a lot to deal with at such a
It is
tender age.
100%, and how you deal with it is so hard. I mean, she's obviously kept a lot of things that she had concerns over quiet for so long, and then only after the Olympics she could maybe allow herself to express her opinion on a few things. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
That's lovely from
The
Ratchanok.
thing is, Ratchanok, she does it so gracefully as well. It's so, like, the way she played that cross net was like, it was very easy. Yes, she took it quite high. I mean, this shot set up the rally. She plays it so nicely. The quality of the shot as well, it's exceptional.
Six, 5. Service over. 6 all.
Service over. 17, 16.
9, 10.
Perfect
7,
lift.
6.
Do you think the pace of the game is
6.
it's the pace that Anseon wants to play at? It's just gone a little bit slower. Not really an injection of pace from either player. Brilliant shot.
Excellent work.
9.
Well, we've got
6.
Ratchanok sort of at the other end of the spectrum now, who's coming towards the end of her career. Though she did recently say she's going to try for another couple of years.
Yeah, she's only 29.
Yeah.
So she seems older only because she achieved so much success at such a young age.
17, I think she was world champion.
The thing is, I mean, this is where it's so
7,
difficult in sport because
9.
you can only maintain your body can and kind of your mind can contain, you know, being one of the very, very best for a certain duration. And some players will retire earlier because they achieved that at a younger age. Some players will play. Good example of that is Anders Rasmussen in the men's doubles. He's achieved the phenomenal success that him and Kim have slightly later, so he's, you know, managing to play for a longer duration.
Right.
I'd say one total exception to that, and he's an exception to everything,
9.
is the man, the legend, Hendra Setiwan. You know, he achieved success at a young age.
Defies
and it's still going. Yeah. You know, he is an icon for many. Defies all rules.
Service over. 10.
Yeah, she did say that almost half her life has been about badminton, Ratchanok, and she wants to enjoy what's left of her career. Doesn't have any high targets. She says she's going to try 2 more years and then aim for the Asian Games in Nagoya, Japan. Wants to keep healthy and not put pressure on herself anymore. Wants to smile every situation.
It's the big thing, you know, it's the easiest thing for a coach to say is enjoy it. Obviously, when you're out there and you're not performing, you can't enjoy it. But you will play your best when you enjoy it. You know, when you're happy, when you're comfortable, when you're enjoying what you're doing. And finding that key is difficult for a coach, but I'd say it's one integral part for a coach. A coach has to find a way of trying to work with the player to make sure the players are happy and comfortable and enjoying what they're doing. You don't want them to go into training with a, you know, a frown or a disappointing negative. You never get the most out of them.
10.
Nothing gets through that way, is it?
Yeah, and you know, you don't really want to be there. And,
No.
you know, Ratchanok's coming out with a concept of why put extra pressure. She's achieved so much. You know, she's a phenomenal player. These however many years she's going to play for, if she can do her best to just enjoy it and enjoy the whole experience, she will play well, like she did last week, the Arctic Open.
Yeah. So it is Ratchanok who goes into the interval with a 1-point lead. 11-10 in the second game. She's already won the first.
가는 것들이 좀 많으니까 그런 것들만 조금만 더 조절 잘 해주고. 그래서 수비 기본적으로 좀 많이 잘 생각해주고.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Turn to your seat. Turn to your seat.
It's never easy, is it, coming back
10.
after the highs of the Olympics,
Play.
reaching the pinnacle of the sport. You've not played in a tournament for a couple months. You've had a lot of scrutiny around you. You've had an injury which you're not 100%. There's a lot of things not in a favour at the moment.
Yeah, and this is the thing, in reality, when you add all that up, how on earth are you supposed to play to your highest level? You're not going to, and I think it's hard to not notice and not mention. There's obviously a disconnection between her and her coaches. When we're seeing the intervals, there's not a team, as it were.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, she's still a really, really good player that even if things are slightly against her and she's not maybe playing her best, she doesn't feel as comfortable and so on, she still could find a way to win this. It's definitely not over yet.
Right.
She lost the first game, and I wouldn't say we're seeing the best version at the moment of An Se-young.
Exactly, and we thought she might grab this by the horns on that far end.
Yeah, but I definitely wouldn't say it's happened yet. Now,
No.
full credit as well to Ratchanok.
Ratchanok, exactly.
Except for the fairly simple mistake we just saw then. She has played well. She's made life difficult. And
Yeah.
as long as she keeps An Se-young troubled, it is going to be enough to possibly sneak this second game. But you can never write off a 22-year-old who's pretty much completed badminton.
Service over.
I just think, obviously, seeing the disparity, the disconnection between the coaches and An Se-young, there's obviously a lot of unanswered questions there.
Service over.
From Ratchanok's point of view, she was talking about her troublesome ankle.
12.
Opted not to have surgery. She retired from a tournament in Macau when it was 1-all
14.
against Happy Low, and then decided to skip surgery for the moment on her left ankle, which she says has hampered her form and confidence. She feels it's the right call at the moment.
Absolutely brilliant.
Wow, place
Great spin net, and then, placement in the attack, wow. But this is the thing, when a player has an injury like this, in a perfect world, the situation might be to have an operation, but the problem is, even if it's a minor operation, it's still, you might only be out for a month, but it's much longer than that to come back, because you've got to get back into the flow, into the rhythm, back into training. You've got to be 100% when you start tournaments, and it really knocks if you're on a run or the momentum. And it's trying to manage it as best you can. I'm pretty sure you could speak to almost every player on tour right now, and
they would delay it.
There'll be a lot. There'll be a lot that, in a perfect world, would be having some kind of more, either an injection or minor surgery or even major surgery to rectify a niggle or an injury. And it's how you manage it that's the complicated bit.
Did you have that sort of choice as well, ever?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I was quite old when I stopped, and my body had said to me a few times, Chris, I think it's time. But
did you ignore that for a bit?
I ignored it for a long, long time. And, I played for years with a pretty serious injury that only came to light at the very end of my career. And as a player, you don't want to have the surgery. You don't want to stop. You don't want to, because you're doing something you really enjoy and you're passionate about. And, you want to strive for more, and you've got a clear direction of, I want to be better. Maybe I'm ranked 20 in the world, I want to be 15, I want to be 10, and so on and so on.
And that momentum that you've built, gone.
You don't want to stop. And also, for me, I was a doubles player. I didn't want to let my partner down, because what do they do when you're out for 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is, a year, however long it could be to recover. Wow.
Oh, that's a great point.
15, 14.
And she's coming back into her rhythm. Last week we saw that, and this is, a major reason why she wouldn't want to pause anything, because she's starting to play as the player everyone knows she can play like. Oh my goodness. Absolutely
How did
exceptional.
that? Amazing. Wow, that travelled up.
But she's in crazy trouble and gets the net cord. It doesn't get any better than that. From there to play a net shot, I mean, it's deceptive as well. It looks like she's going to lift. That's why An Se-young obviously moves back. That's pretty much a 99 out of 100 shot. As in, you're going to make it maybe one out of 100. Maybe.
Just feel like things are going with her right now, Ratchanok.
away.
And she's opened up a 3-point lead.
Yeah, and when you just look at the body language of An Se-young, if you're a fan of An Se-young, it's not looking great. I mean, that's exceptional from Ratchanok to find a way of getting that back, but I don't know if An Se-young really believes she can win this.
Yeah, this one is, I'm afraid for her, going to be very much dissected.
50-17.
But I think we've already laid out, there's a lot of mitigating reasons. It's your comeback tournament, you're playing a quality player here.
Yeah, she's under, you know, triple the pressure she's normally under, I feel. She's under a lot normally, being obviously she was world #1 for so long. Can she find a way?
17.
Can never write her off.
Yeah, it's that fighting spirit that's also endeared at so many fans. She's level again.
17. All.
This was the time where, for Ratchanok, you just wanted to keep the pressure on, and just one or two simpler mistakes, which we hadn't seen a lot of. She's in a good position here, as in she's on balance. It's a good lift, it's not an exceptional lift.
Please welcome the technical officials, board number 3.
Edges in front.
Yeah, stemmed from that exceptional net. She has got such good touch of the net, Ratchanok. The spin she created, and she gets such a short lift. Ends with the body attack. Really short serve there from Ratchanok.
Board number 3, mixed doubles. From Denmark, Sudirman and Mike.
Well wide.
The opponents from Chinese Taipei, Yang Hoswan, Hu Ling Fan.
Well, all of a sudden, she's back in front, but there is a challenge here from Ratchanok.
All out.
She wins this, An Se-young goes in front. Or rather, sorry, An Se-young goes in front. 19-18 if she gets, if this is... Oh, has it clipped the line? No, it is out. Oh.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining.
This one has swung back and forth.
19-18. Play.
Oof. Two game points, An Se-young. I tell you what, didn't look like she was in the reckoning a short while ago.
No. You know, I don't know. Ratchanok, it's not that she's capitulated, but I do feel just quite a few unforced errors in these last 5. Yeah, again.
Yeah, there you go.
It felt like she kind of had it at one stage, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, it slipped through her fingers. I don't think An Se-young did anything exceptional to really snatch that second game.
1 game all.
So, 21-18, An Se-young, and she's now dragged it into a third.
คือองศาน่ารักไปหน่อยมันก็เลยยุ่งยากถ้าแบบว่าดูตามก็คือต้องก่อนแล้วพอไปดูให้มันเร่งเร็วมาซึ่งน้ำมันต้องลองกระโดดโดดเดี่ยวแรงที่เร็วนิดนึงติดคอร์สอะไรถ้าติดคอร์สจะเก็บอีกทีก็ได้ไม่เป็นไรถ้าเดินกลับไปก็ต้องให้เราดูเวลาเนี่ยแต่เขาหลุดนั่นฟัง
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Final game. Level. Play.
She's dragged herself back into this, Unsa Young.
Turns over. 1 love.
Now, we saw how well Lu Guangzhou did in the last game. We've seen most of the players having to really try and change things up. Unsa Young will be on the so-called preferred end by the end of this match.
Missed it by literally an inch or so. Nearly perfect. I do feel, if I'm honest, this is more down to Ratchanok than Unsa Young, just because I think Unsa Young's kind of in, say, 3rd or 4th gear, but she's kind of stuck in 3rd or 4th gear. Whereas Ratchanok at times has looked really good, but then at times I feel like that, just she can't afford to make these cheap mistakes, because Unsa Young won't really give her anything, but I don't think Unsa Young's going to do a great deal.
The unforced errors kind of racking up.
1.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the right, Matthias Thierry and Mark Solo, Denmark.
Okay, that's good play there from Unsa Young. And this is the difficult bit now, because Ratchanok, she knows, Unsa Young, she's got a great defence, Unsa Young, everyone knows that. Possibly or probably the best defence in the world with Yamaguchi when Yamaguchi is playing well. But if Ratchanok pushes it too much and tries too hard to win the point and then gifts her points, it just obviously makes it even easier for Unsa Young. She's got to keep working her and wait for that opportunity, Ratchanok. She mustn't get too impatient and go for something when she's not in the right position to do it. Good attack there.
That's what you can do on this end.
5, 2.
Silver, 2, 1.
Unsa Young lost to
6.
Akane Yamaguchi in 2021 in the final. Had to retire in the last game. It was very tight. 21-18, 23-25. But it was 16-5 in the third when she had to give up.
Service over.
Thing is, in that second game, obviously Ratchanok winning the first and being 17-14 up, but it wasn't just 17-14 up. I felt she kind of had the momentum.
Yeah.
And I think she just changed everything she was doing and went almost too extreme to try and win the point. It was almost like she could see the light at the end of the tunnel and tried to grab it too early.
Unsa Young has really picked things up.
Incredibly apologetic then.
4-point lead here, and she's still got to go up the other end. This is going quite well for An Se-young. The sting has been completely removed, isn't it?
Yeah, and An Se-young's going to a rhythm now of just moving the shuttle around, feeling good, feeling composed.
Well, if she comes through this An Se-young, she'll play either Wintui Lin or Supanida. Be like the Thai National Championships for her. 3 Thai players in a row.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Thailand ladies singles now, they're so strong.
She's on a roll now, isn't she?
Yeah, a little bit of fortune there, catching the neck cord, the top of the tape, and totally disrupting the pace at which it was going at. She played the rally so well. She put Ratchanok in so much trouble.
Oof.
Exceptional there from Ratchanok. I have to say at the moment is kind of taking something quite impressive. An Se-young definitely improved their level in this third game. And there it took a perfect net shot. And this is what Ratchanok can do.
That's what, yeah.
And it's what we saw for, you know, the first game and a large majority of the second game, because she's given time on the shuttle and she has got so many weapons. It's just that last bit of the second game where she almost got carried away.
She's won 3 of the last 4 points, and that is on the line. Nice little comeback here from Ratchanok.
Ooh. 10-7.
Absolute perfection there from An Se-young.
This looks...
Shot quality there, exceptional.
Yeah, it's what's going her way at the moment. Oh,
brilliant.
We've seen some top stuff from both these players.
Ratchanok just showing, well done, I can do that as well.
8-10.
It's out. So, 3-point lead, An Se-young. Going into the drift now with this last part of our game, our match here, which was exciting in the last one. Let's see what happens here.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Coach, return to your seat. 11-8.
Nicely poised, this one. And An Young with a 3-point lead in this third game.
Court 3, 20 seconds.
Play.
What do you want to see from Ratchanok here?
It's controlling when she has this opportunity, but in regards to, I feel like the game's up to her in regards. Yes, she has some exceptional prowess, power, you know, control, skill, touch. But at times, I think she just overdoes it, and she gifts An Young a cheaper point. That's just really well played, though. But you can accept that if you're Ratchanok. Well played by An Young. She hasn't gifted her anything. Just going back to the comments we made about how strong Thailand's ladies singles is, they have half of the players that are top 8 on the World Tour Finals ranking. Half of the players.
4 of them.
Yep. From Thailand.
And sadly, only 2 can go.
Yep. And tough for Ratchanok at the moment, because she's actually the...
Is she the 4th of them?
She's the 4th ranked, and it would be incredibly tough for her to manage to... It's possible. Anything's possible. You know, if she could win this match and...
12-8.
Sails over. The lead is up to 5 now.
13-8.
13-8.
Again, that's another great shot. I'm just going back to that. That is an exceptional statistic, though, to think about it right now. 4 of the 8.
100%, and especially
Thailand.
Thailand. Who's a nation, don't get me wrong, they are very good, but over the last probably 4 or 5 years, in lady singles have had massive improvements, and it comes from this lady I'm seeing on the camera right now, Ratchanok. She's inspired the next generation. Now, it's not just obviously just her, it's everything that's been done in Thailand, but she's inspired the lady singles generation to come through, and they do play a lot of tournaments, the players from Thailand, but also, you know, a lot of them are getting these big results, and someone like Sudirman, who's really come alive over the last 12 months, playing some of the best badminton of her career.
Right. Amazing to think countries like Japan, China, at the moment overshadowed by Thailand.
You have to remember it is the World Tour, so it doesn't take into account obviously all the tournaments.
Sure.
But it's still incredible for Thailand having an incredibly good chance of 2 players qualifying for the World Tour Finals. Just that really exciting big tournament they have at the end of the year.
Still quite a few between now and then as well.
Yeah, and it gets more and more exciting each week almost. Perfect.
Holds up nicely.
It's so disheartening when you leave it. She went to leave it. You know it's going out, and then the drift just stops in. It lands almost on the line.
Can't count how many times that's happened today and yesterday.
It's really just running away. I mean, An Young, got to give her credit. Since that patch, 17-14 down in the second, the amount of unforced errors she made, or she has made, minimal. She's kind of closed the door, as it were. You know, she locked the key to giving any gifts of any sort away to her opponent. Quite typical that, just so I comment how many few unforced errors An Young's made, she makes an unforced error.
Just wants to keep it interesting.
17-11.
Perfect.
Service over.
These are the glimpses that we're seeing now of what we saw earlier for Ratchanok to be so devastating in the first game. And that's just a really good shot because it's not a short lift, it's a reasonable length on the lift. This is the prowess that Ratchanok does have. She just struggled to be able to use it in this third game.
Difficult to legislate for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ratchanok knew where it was going, but when it gets a net cord and the shuttle essentially dies, it's almost impossible.
6-point lead, 3 required for An Se-young. She looked in some trouble earlier, as Chris mentioned.
And it's like the super strength that An Se-young has. Even when it looks like she's maybe not playing her best, things aren't going her way, and I don't know, she manages to find this extra something. And
absolutely. And
it normally comes with experience, but she's 22. And yes, she's very, very, very experienced for 22, but still, you can only see her getting better and better over the years.
Have to dig very, very deep here now.
Short 3, 20 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you. Play.
Second game. Louder. Play.
Have to say I do quite like that from An Se-young. You know, you can hear the noise from Ratchanok there where she was putting her feet on the court, which indicates there's some sweat. Now, as a player, if there's any sweat, you're going to slip, you can't move, you can't push off. And An Se-young's almost indicating, look, I think the court should be mopped. I really like that kind of...
solidarity, right?
Yeah, but it's also, you know, sportsmanship.
Yeah. Oh, what a winner that one is. And now, 6 match points.
Match point 14.
Got to say, I'm quite interested to see her reaction at the end of this. An Se-young. There you go. An Se-young with the win in the end. Quite comfortable. Warm words been spoken between these two old foes. Walking away in victory. Delight from An Se-young. She plays up to the crowd as she always does.
Won by An Se-young, 17, 21, 21, 18, 21, 14.
And that, I'm sure, will make her feel a whole lot better. And she looked like she might well be out in 2. Great to see, by the way, what you're not seeing right now, the two players having a nice old chat as they're walking off the court. But An Se-young, the top seed here from Korea, beats Ratchanok Intanon of Thailand, 17-21, 21-18, 21-14. She's done it in just under 1 hour. Fascinating match. We just saw An Se-young defeating Ratchanok Intanon. That means it's men's doubles time now. Liang Weikeng and Wang Cheng, the top seeds from China, taking on the pretty new pairing of Leo Roli Karnando and Bagas Malana of Indonesia.